All right. Hi to everyone, and welcome to Grace Counseling video series on our anti-pornography campaign. These are the methods to quit pornography addiction. Of course, as a psychologist, I will review, I believe there's 10 of them, and I will give you my take on each one. Where did we get these methods? Let's just say we did a quantitative analysis of our clients stretching for some few years, maybe 5 years. It's post-COVID clients already, and again, all of them, of course, are super anonymous. We checked some keywords we used, the things that we recommended, and how the check-up happened. So this is going to be exciting. This is going to be very useful for you guys, especially for the ones keeping your pornography problems to yourself. We tried this one first. If it works, it works. God bless you, man. If it doesn't work, it behooves us to seek for more social support. So let's start one by one. Back to business, man. 10 methods to review. The first method that I found myself prescribing would be the routine change methods. Now, what's the routine change methods? The routine change method is simply to change the routines that you have. Now, this one depends on the frequency of the episodes of pornography practices. What we love, this one is very, very much effective if the pornography episodes or the pornography habit has already become enmeshed in your daily routines. So a daily routine, so some people would say, daily routine is quite serious, just to let you know. Sometimes it's thrice a week, it's still on the serious level. Twice a week, I don't really much panic anymore. It's below the threshold for what you would call an addiction. However, if it's enmeshed in your routine, all you have to do, it works in a circadian rhythm, and if it has become part of your physiological routine, your body actually craves for the dopamine fix. Your body craves for the stimulation on a particular time or particular times during the day. Now, what are the statistics for this one? Most of the time, people engage in the episodes of pornography after work at night. So if this happens, change the routine. We want to rock away and dislodge the prior routine and replace it with a new routine. So say, for example, I finish work around 7 p.m., go home and relax at home around 9 p.m., experience the stress and anxiety, and engage in self-soothing behavior around 9:30 p.m. What I can do in the change the routine method is place in a new routine there and dislodge, to disrupt the old routine, probably create a prayer routine, probably create a jogging routine, probably clean my toilet or do my laundry routine. And this one is what it takes to change the routine. Substitute episodes with another routine. So I'll jump directly to my take on this one. This one is known to be effective, again, if your pornography addiction is motivated by habits and routine. Try this one out. My rating for this, because of its 50% batting average, half benefit, half don't, in the long term, I would say it's a 7 out of 10. Routine change. Next, I'm jumping to the next one. What about this one? The cold shower approach. It started off as a myth, right? Normally, people will hear about this in sex education when we're dealing with younger teens who are facing their hormones for the first time, and the flush of all these hormones are just too much for them to bear. Then we tell them, go for a cold shower. In my opinion, I am not a medical doctor. I'm not a physician or what have you. In my opinion, all I have are stats. So I just breeze it out with guinea pigs and ask them, hey, what happened next, man? So this one is known to work for the short term. Normally, the reports for the cold shower approach, normally it happens first 3 days, it will do very, very well. It's a pink cloud effect because after the fourth day, fifth day, it starts declining. How come it doesn't work anymore? So you can call it evolution or the body adjusting to your new physiology. And apparently the root causes are still there. So you can see my rating go down for this one. My tip for this one, as I've been sharing in the other videos, is when you do a cold shower technique, you splash the water or you move the flowing water at the back of your head. Positive side for this one, it's purely behavioral. You don't have to like it. You can simply do it. The downside for this one is that it can make you sick. Even I am afraid of cold showers, so especially when you try to do it in the morning. So my tip for this one is in conjunction to the first one, in cutting off the routines, you can do the cold shower in the morning or at night, or both. It's that easy. It's that simple. My rating for this one, for the cold shower, is a 5 out of 10. Now, 5 out of 10 means it's no longer reliable. It can work short term. Short term, if it's the first time you're doing it, your body's not used to cold showers, you're always using the heater, it's very, very good. It will, and let me know how long it lasts. I pray and I hope that it works for you. But if it lasts for a week, that would be very, very good already. Your body and mind would have changed the attitudes once again. Method number 3 that we've recommended on people, which is very, very good, and giving you a hint on this one, is the quintessential, why don't you pick an exercise or you pick a sport? Commit yourself or dedicate yourself to a sport. And you can see the positive side of this one, that it's already a win-win situation. So it may help you with your pornography addiction or the pornography episodes. If it doesn't, then you still benefit physiologically. Now, what's picking up a sport or exercising in conjunction to the change in routines? Most of the methods, by the way, will hit method number 1. So what you're going to do here is usually you institute this strenuous activity after the work day. Why is this? Because the sense of exercising and conducting sport is to more or less deplete the body of its excess energy. The theory for this one is, nowadays we have sedentary lifestyles. I just sit in the bus going to work, or worse, people just sit in the car and drive to work. The stress is in the head. They work on a desk. They work in front of a computer, type everything out. They go back home without expending much calories on physical activities. The heart rate doesn't really go up much. So the rationale for this is, it's time for you to start going for your cardios, right? Cardio exercises to keep the heart pumping. So they go out to exercise, to jog, to do their weight trainings and stuff, thus depleting the body from excessive pent up energies. So what will happen here is they go back to bed, tired, ready for a nap, ready for a good night's sleep. Sorry for that. My take on this one is, once again, it's a 50-50. 50-50 because I don't know your physiology. We have tried this. It's because it's easy to implement. It's a win-win. But having said that, please check with your physicians. Though it's a win-win, 50-50. Half of you listeners will get stimulated by exercising after work. This one, if you get stimulated, it's like drinking coffee. Your heart rate will be up, your muscles will be pumped, and you're all warmed up. What will happen there? You prolong the evening and you stay up longer in a bored state. Now, this one will work against us. We don't want you bored, and we don't want you having time while you're bored. You know where it will lead to. The other half has reported that it's swimming, jogging around 7 p.m. Depends when you knock off work. Some people jog or do their runs. They have the luxury of doing their runs right below their office places. I don't know where they work, but they can afford to do this, and they come home tired, ready for a sleep. They don't prolong their evenings anymore. So in this case, I will give this, if it works for you. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it stimulates you. It's a 1 out of 10. It's a terrible idea to keep you up, to keep you stimulated and bored in the evening. It's a 1 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10. And for this reason, the counselors will have to interview you more about sleep hygiene, about how your body responds to stimulants. When will your body collapse? When will your body, I would say, slow down and prepare yourself for sleeping? So again, the best way to do this is to consult your your physician, to consult your coach in the gym, the ones who can analyze and factor in the medications that you're using, factor in your individual physiology. So once again, I'm just simplifying this as some get stimulated, some don't. Overall, it's a win-win. If it doesn't help with pornography, at least you become more healthier. Next one, go to the next one. Number 4 is the accountability partner. It's a good behavioral technique / social technique because you actually involve someone else. What is this one? It can take many forms. I have an example here, one of which is making it social, making it public, but not too public, because the downside for this one is that it will collide with a lot of your privacy issues. Again, no one would even dare click like on these videos or comment on these videos for the very fear that they may be identified or associated as someone watching videos that will help with pornography addiction. How much more for someone to be this brave to tell their pastor about it, to tell your cell group leader about it. The safest is to tell a trusted best friend, to tell your siblings. The sibling is another safe person if you believe that they can help. So some of you will be wondering, should I tell my girlfriend? Should I tell my spouse? You notice it's always geared towards the guy as the one who's an addict. Usually it is a guy, but if you're a female, should you tell your husband? Should you tell your boyfriends? Most of the time, it's encouraged. I'm being safe. Most of the time, it's encouraged. So you tell someone else, at least you're accountable to someone, and you get social support. What do you mean by a social support? Social support is someone who can tell you, who can validate you that you're on the right track. We need to hear this as people who are recovering from or who are battling pornography addiction. You already feel bad. You feel totally alone. And most of the time, you will need to feel good somewhere else. So we cut these needs off, and touch on with your best friend. Call up your accountability partner. Some of the churches I heard pair you up with an older brother, younger brother system. Probably an older sister, younger sister, or today auntie versus sister system. It's up to you. You want a 4-man accountability group, 6-person accountability group, 1-to-1 accountability group. The downside for this one is it may be costly for the one helping you. Why is this? Because I would encourage the lines to be open. That every time you are tempted, you can text someone, you can reach out to someone who can give you the emotional support that you need for that moment. So emotional support, once again, is simply someone telling you that, number 1, it's not actually a sin to be tempted. It's not actually a sin to be tempted by sexual thoughts or sexual fantasies. It's not a sin. So this one is a free social support to you. It's all right. You're just a man. You're a testosterone-based creature designed for procreation. So don't beat yourself up to it. Yeah. So no need for forgiveness. It's just you're hardwired for this. So again, many takes on this one, but I have to move on. Example is making it less accessible. This one is considered a social support. It has worked for a lot of our early teens clients, where we ask them to move their workstations or their computers back to the living room where it's more public, where more people are walking around. So just exploit social support, meaning the presence of other people. Why is this? Because it's close to the theory of how we deal with suicide engagements. Suicide engagements, we need social support. Why is this? Because the presence of other people will lower down nonsense behavior. Let's put it this way. Yeah. So a lot of husbands are prevented of surfing, pornographic images because their wife is beside them. I would say that is very common, and that is we can learn a lot from this one. So I would say for this one, having an accountability partner, having someone monitor your websites, locking yourself out of websites, those are the actual techniques under this class that will pull down the marks. I don't really agree with them. So in this technique, blocking the websites, I will give it a 2 out of 10. Blocking the websites, 2 out of 10. Informing someone to have your emotional support / social support, I would say that will give you a 7 out of 10. It is effective. It will help you. By the way, for scaling purposes, 7 out of 10 is good. 8 out of 10 is very, very good. So it's close to a miraculous method already. So 2 out of 10, I've never seen, because it's a good try. I appreciate that the person is motivated to stop and they're involving other people. But if you're just there to block websites, it's always circumvented. Everyone is tech savvy nowadays. Anyone will find a way around, even teenagers. Next one, method number 5. This one is fasting in itself. We've been speaking about fasting and how we can cope from pornography addiction on this one. I will give it a 9 out of 10. Fasting is a 9 out of 10. Call me biased, but because it's biblical, I love this method. Everyone who has tried this has benefited for the first few weeks. I have to be transparent on this one. In the long run, it's as sustainable as fasting. How long can you fast? 40 days. What define fasting for now? Fasting in the human level. Let's just call it intermittent fasting. People, you say, yeah, please consult your doctor on this one. My guideline for this one is you at least have to have at least one meal in a day. Now, the rationale for fasting is not just to follow what the Bible says. Although the Bible is wise, what the Bible is instituting with fasting is for you to develop discipline, for you to develop frustration tolerance, for you to understand that pain is not always bad physical pain or physiological pain, like hunger, like sexual frustration, for example, your cravings for sexual gratification, or any form of positive stimulation. That's called self-soothing activities. You're simply bored. You mistake it as a sexual frustration. Then you seek for sexual gratifications. The same thing. Fasting will teach you. Whether if it's 3-day fasting, 4-day fasting, I believe 3 days would be enough to teach you the pain of hunger. That it's actually okay. You're not gonna die. It's not your job to always satisfy yourself and pleasure yourself, or to eliminate pain and frustration. It's there for a reason. Practice out fasting. Positive side for this one, it has supplementary gains like spiritual gains. Will it really make you more spiritual? Actually, yes, because the consciousness is shift from the physical world to spiritual concerns. That actually, hey, what I feel in the body is not that important. My sexual cravings, I can actually overcome them. It's the same way as I overcome my hunger. 9 out of 10 for fasting. Check out the old. Let me learn to use cards and place some cards here. YouTube cards, where you can link you to past videos on fasting, with our discussion on fasting. All right, number 6, using worship music, playing worship music. And I want to be more particular on this one. Playing worship music, there's 2 types. Playing worship music as a habit. What I'm looking into is playing worship music when you are tempted to look at these images or to look at the videos, pornographic videos. Number 1, why worship music? Why not any form of music? I am weary about music of today, especially the ones that you see in the internet, because we have learned that sex sells. And so there's a lot of subliminal messages, a lot of sexual undertones for gaming, for music, any form of media. You check out all the thumbnail. That's why no one clicks on our videos, because there's no subliminal sexual content that you will find here. Although you speak about pornography, there's no sexual imagery here, no nothing. We're just here to be well so we can learn and focus on loving other people. So worship music in conjunction to method number 1, which is to break the routine, right? Once you are tempted to go into an episode of pornography, play worship music. The sense for this one, number one, is to disrupt the routine, which is method number one. Number two, worship music is to stay away from everyday music, the pop music, and I won't mention names, but most of them have sexual connotations, and it will feed on to your sexual ideas and probably your sexual needs. So worship music shifts your consciousness from being focused on yourself, from being focused on, I'm going to sin again, I'm such a lousy guy, I'm a weak person, that's why nobody loves me, I don't deserve to be loved. You shift it from being self-focused to God-focused. Worship music. When I say worship music, is the music that's focused on His love for us, His faithfulness, His mercy, His loving kindness. Perfect love casts out fear. And this one, okay, what's my notes for this one? I rated this a 7 out of 10. Bam, 7 out of 10. Meaning, number one, it's good, yet it's not perfect. By the way, there's no perfect approach. I wish there's one. Although we'll all be jobless if that happens. No, but I promise you, if I find the perfect approach, I will share it to you guys for free, man. This one is 7 out of 10, playing worship music. And why is this? Why is it not? Okay, number one, I mentioned it. It does work. It does work. Number two, I've seen report. Why is it 7, not 8, not 9? I've heard reports from, I'm being transparent here. I base on data. I've heard reports that for some people who've tried the worship music approach, besides being boring, that it actually instills guilt in them. It actually instills guilt in them. Then what happens next is they still fall for the act of watching pornography, and which is a double no. Watching pornography in the spirit of guilt. You don't want this because it creates a downward spiral. You want to feel good, you feel worse. When you want to feel better, you even feel worse, and you start spiraling down until it is inevitable. You will reach the point where you will say that I am truly not worthy. I am sorry, Lord. I'm a hypocrite now if I go to you. Cut off this cycle. Always approach the Lord. The sick need a doctor. Even hypocrites need the Lord. We're all hypocrites anyway. He wants you. All right, negative side. Okay, some people would say it's too short. One, worship music. It's also the positive side. 3 minutes, can cut it short. And after that, they would say they're tempted again. So what do I do? My tip for this one is not to rely on this solely. Of course, right? It's not a magic pill that as long as I listen to worship music, it will be gone. It has to be accompanied by prayer. Like what I mentioned a while ago. Worship music is about His love. You will have to start reflecting on love. On His love. You have to learn something besides venting out and learning. Yeah, there's an input and there's a venting out thing. That's what you call therapy. Speaking of venting out, by the way, so worship music, 7 out of 10. You have questions, email me. I'll give you more specific instructions. Although we need the interview, the counseling interview, because it doesn't work for everyone. There's several factors to consider. All right, method number 7, my favorite as well. I'm biased on this. Bias alert, journaling. Pure perfection if you want to vent things out safely and confidentially. When it comes to privacy of what you're writing down or what you're typing nowadays or what you're recording, it's part of journaling. It's perfect for venting out. It's perfect for expression. But please be responsible for the privacy. I will not, don't blame me for this, right? My mom saw my diary. My husband knows my password and he saw what I wrote there. In the first place, what were you writing? Okay, it doesn't have to be sexual stuff. Journaling can take the form of pouring down your thoughts on paper, so that it's saved and documented somewhere else. In the future, you can still read them and see them. we use this a lot, especially in counseling, because it makes the counselor's job a lot easier. You're actually creating my notes for me. So what I will usually do is compare your data entries, your journal entries from day 1 to day 30. Day 30 compared to day 60. Day 60 compared to day 100. And we will see the changes. Are you improving or not? What have you in the peak of your in the peak week of pornography addiction? What have you been going through? What was going through your head? What was going through your mind then? Maybe it was a tough time from work. Then so we know it's pornography via anxiety and stress. Or sometimes you would say the peak month for pornography was the time I was overseas alone. Then we say, okay, so it's diagnostically significant that it's pornography via loneliness, pornography via isolation needs. Not isolation needs, the need, social needs. You're isolated and you actually need social support. We can actually identify the emotional need motivating your pornography addiction based on journaling. So express on paper what you're thinking. It's a form of displacement and venting out. Express anger, express, you can express your temptations there. Sometimes my personal journals will come as a reflection or as a prayer. Of course, they're extremely private, but I write on paper. This is my biggest tip for journaling, for journal writers out there. Write it on paper. So my theory for this one is you activate a lot of brain centers. That's why you remember more stuff when you are writing. It's connected to certain memory regions in your brain to unlock more stuff. You think slower because you write slower. Think about this. You become more detailed, you become more honest, and you miss out less. Well, the plus side is also the downside. Some people would say that journaling, my fingers are too slow to write, my mind is too fast. In that case, use audio recordings or vlogs. Just don't post it in the internet, man. So again, downside, privacy. Keep it to yourself. You can share it with your accountability partners. You can share it with your spouse. Please take note. Leave it to you. Taps into different brain regions, opens up reflective past, privacy issues. So my rating for this one for journaling will be 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. It is not perfect because it's only helpful for people who love to read and write. Not many people have those. Not everyone has those communication styles. Not many people have those styles of expressing themselves. Some people prefer to express themselves through music, through movement, through art. There's many ways of expressing oneself, so it doesn't work for everyone. So 9 out of 10 because I'm biased. If I'm not biased, it will be 8 out of 10. Now, method number 8 is, we're getting to the more general methods. So hopefully, if you skip to these methods, number 8 is about reading the Bible / reflecting / prayer. I place them all in the meditative category. So to distract the mind from being conscious of your current problem, to distract the mind from being conscious of your temptations, the current temptations, or for the problems in your workplace, back to the consciousness of God and His love. Back to the consciousness of Jesus and the cross. Always meditate about Jesus Christ with the cross. This one was Paul's method. He will never separate the Lord Jesus Christ and what He did on the cross. It's always Jesus and the cross. It's one good meditations. So you can reflect, read the Bible, pray. This one, I will jump to the chase. I will call this 7 out of 10. Please take note that this one is in lieu of Christian counseling. We don't recommend this for secular counseling, for our secular clients, for our clients who are Christians, but they think I don't want Christian counseling. We don't recommend this because this one is a very Christianly thing to do. It's one of the provisions that the Lord gave us. Prayer, 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 prayer. Very easy to do, accessible anywhere. You don't have to wait to be tempted to indulge in these gifts to indulge in these luxuries of the child of God. You can do this in every time you're bored or every time you are busy. Let's not give the Lord our junk time when we are bored in the train. But it's good to pray when you're in the train, when you're in public transport, when you're driving as well. Make sure you're driving well. And at the same time, during the peak of your precious time, always start off with a prayer. Shift the consciousness from me, my suffering, this bored body that needs more stimulation, and we shift it to God. Okay, the tip for this one is to pray for something else important in your life. Do not pray against the temptation. Sometimes you try it out. I find this more effective when you pray for other things. It's to shift. Remember, the purpose for this one is to shift the consciousness from the temptations, to shift the consciousness from sexuality, shift it to other God. Shift it to other topics like what a good life it is, what a blessed life it is, how good God is to you. Thank God for the cross. Pray for other things. You try it out. So some of you who are praying for this, I'm already doing this. I'm praying and praying and praying. My question to you, what were you praying for? You are praying against a temptation. You are praying against your sexual urges. God sees your heart. But what you're doing there is you're making yourself more conscious of sexuality. In a sense, you become more reconnected to your body and its needs. Now, so this one is 7 out of 10, reflecting, reading, and prayer. Why is it not perfect 10? Why is it not 9? Particularly because some people have reported to become more tempted when they're doing this. I just gave you my explanation. You become more tempted because temptation is from the mind, and what prayer, reflecting, and reading does is to let you dwell in the mind. So it's like you're in the same room as a temptation. Sometimes you can be an easy target for the temptations. My tip for this one, divert your mind and pray about something else. If that happens, I can elevate this to an 8 out of 10. It will be effective. All right, next, I'm running out of time. Next one will be the distractions. What are distractions? Anything to do to take away your mind. Once again, these are secular stuff. It's no longer prayer. Watching movies, doom scrolling. For some, now I'm instituting this one. Distractions. Why? It's a double-edged sword in the first place, right? You could be doom scrolling, especially for doom scrolling and going for social media. You can easily fall for sexual temptations. Yes, but at the same time, it provides the same dopamine fix that may rival the dopamine fix that you get from pornography. It depends from person to person. Some people have a dopamine fix of 100. Some people get a dopamine fix of 80. Distractions is something pleasurable that you engage in, like me and my computer games. Sometimes I still play games, although there are sexual content there. It can tempt me. So I'm rating this as a 5 out of 10. If it works, it works. If it works to distract you out from your sexual imageries, it helps distract you away from sexual temptations or your sexual needs, then good. Going for video streaming, going for social media, cooking yourself a meal. These are small distractions. The positive side for this one, it's theoretically sound. It adheres to the number one method of breaking your routine. So as long as it doesn't feed, the distraction doesn't feed onto your sexual brain, and it contributes to the consciousness shift. It distracts you away from the sexual temptation. You can apply this one, and as such, it's easy to do, yet not too effective. So I'm sharing this here to inform everyone that I rate this one as a 4 out of 10. I'll place it down here. It's a 4 out of 10. I am not too happy with this. It's probably for the first aid levels for secular clients, and I would inform you that if you're a client under Christian counseling, not on the secular counseling client, I would rather go for the Christian methods of prayer, reflecting, reading, uh, social support with your fellow Christian friends. Last one is this is a very, very common approach. We're back to the secular approach, number 10, and then this is the last one. It's 30 minutes already. The sublimation. It's a method called sublimation, very Freudian. In the Freudian sense, it's the text here is about, when you say sublimation, is to rechannel your sexual energies into something more socially acceptable. I got the textbook correct. I still remember this one. Substitute sexual expressions into something more socially acceptable. What is more socially acceptable than streaming pornography? What about engaging in artistic activities? Now, I'm not speaking about a one-to-one exchange between pornographic images and nudity. Some people will argue that nudity is not pornography. In that sense, I know nudity is art. Sometimes you have to express human culture, the human spirit without clothes. I understand this. It's like the nude David statue, right? I understand that. However, in the scientific sense, all of these will still, nudity, not pornography, even nudity or erotica, if you would say, it would still feed on to the person's sexual temptations and making them more conscious of their sexual needs. Therefore, stay away from all these sexual imagery. When I say art, I literally mean painting something else. Painting a chicken, painting a dog. That is a form of sublimation. You practically converted your sexual energies of creativity and you rechannel them to another creative activity. Dancing is another one of them. Although some of you would say erotic dancing. Yes, there's erotic. Everything is sexualized because sex sells. Please understand this. So there's always a corruption of something innocent. I wouldn't say pure, something innocent. There's always a corruption. When you say dancing, then it becomes nothing against this. I'm just saying it's sexual. Then it becomes pole dancing, erotic dancing, whatever dancing. When you say art, there's going to be nude art, nudity. There's always a corruption. There's always a sexualization of something. Why? Because sex sells. Sex attracts attention. Sex maintains attention. That's why there's sexuality in movies, in stories. It's to capture your attention and to hook you into it. It responds to our hormones. I mean, this is how we're hardwired. The Freudians have figured this out. And by this way, be careful about sublimated activities, right? So as long as it exercises and expresses your creative activities, yeah, that's what sexuality is, creation. So as long as you build a Lego, something, immerse yourself in a project. I know someone who did this for calligraphy, converted her, yeah, a person with sexual needs, high sexual frustrations, convert to art. Calligraphy, what happens here psychologically is that they acquire a new skill, which is highly, highly pleasurable. They get to express them, whatever they're venting out, they get to express in whatever they are calligraphying, whether it's a Bible verse, a Chinese code, they get to express stuff. It's good. So this one is good sublimation. And for this case, it did work. It did work. It worked for their pornography addiction. Being inconsistent, people easily diverted, people easily tempted out for this one. It's effective. Once again, it's a double-edged sword. So if it works, it works. I will give it a secular method, and I will give it an 8 out of 10. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Usual 1 out of 10. So again, it doesn't work because it made you more conscious of sexuality. It works because it was able to divert your attention and it was able to help you express yourself. No more energy, no more pent-up energy to worry about. That is sublimation. Overall, I would give it fine. I'll be fair to a secular method. Get rid of confusion when properly conducted. 8 out of 10. So these are the 10 methods that we have rated, and I hope it helps you. I will place all the, it's the end of the video. I hope it helps all of you guys. More prayer to you. No more temptations. Management of your sexual needs. Management of your sexual pains. When I say sexual pains, it's the frustration of the pent-up sexual feelings, the sexual emotions. These are real stuff. Please take note. You're dealing with real hormones. You're dealing with real neurotransmitters. So no condemnation. We will fight this and we will do something about it in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen.